What's going on YouTube? Today we are carrying over with the OWASP top 10 track from Hack the Box. In today's video we're going to go over baby website rig, and if we have additional time, or let me say additional energy for me, we're gonna do the full stack conf and baby bone chewer con. These two challenges are very easy, as you can see, judging by the rating they have received. But baby website trick has some concepts to illustrate. So I'm gonna solve baby website trick, and then after that we're going to see if we're gonna go over these and the last one. If we don't catch up with that, we're going to leave these two challenges and the last one to the upcoming video, which will happen to be hopefully the last video covering this track. So going ahead with this one, as you can see, as per the description, look Morty, look, I turned myself into a website. Morty, I am website Rick baby, but don't play around with some of them. Anti-pickle serum I have stored somewhere safe. If I turn back to a human, I will have to go to family therapy, and we don't want that, Morty. So if you open the challenge, we see this page, website Ricky, and this is the sentence here: don't play around with this serum, Morty, main.anti-pickle serum object. And if you look at the title here, it says insecure deserialization. Alright, so if you worked with Python before, or if you have worked with Python modules, let me show you guys a page. There is a Python module called Pickle. So essentially this Python module is responsible for pickling and unpickling, or serializing and deserializing. But basically it does that to what? It does that to a Python object. So when we convert a Python object structure, okay, when we convert it into a byte stream, what we're doing here is serializing or pickling the object. However, when we convert the byte stream back into its Python object hierarchy, what we're doing here is deserialization or deserializing, or actually unpickling as well. We can say it's unpickling. That's the definition of pickling and unpickling, and it's a Python module. If you read this, the pickle model is not secure, only unpickled data you trust, which means that any data or any Python object that is pickled, it could have some code that when unpickled is executed on the system. It's possible to construct malicious pickle data, which will execute arbitrary code during unpickling or during deserialization. So that's essentially the premise of this challenge. Okay, alright, so first we have to find out what is that object that we will need to pickle or unpickle in this challenge. So this statement is not sufficient. We will have to find what is it actually we will want to play with. So I found that by actually using perp suite, turn intercept on, refresh the page, and there you go. So the only thing to play with here is either the Laravel session or the cookie. So basically most of the time it is the cookie that's the object we want to play with. So as you can see, it is base64, so we're going to copy the cookie here, and what we're going to do, we're going to start playing with that cookie. So basically we're going to assume that this cookie is the pickled object. So let's verify that by going back here, say echo, and paste in the cookie, return it back from base64. Oh, okay, so I have to say the base64 -t, and as you can see we received this. So obviously this is a pickled Python object, or let's say this is a byte stream. So what we're going to do, we're going to convert this back into its original form, or the Python object hierarchy. So we're going to do unpickling here in this case. So unpickling, let me go back here, is the process of converting a byte stream back into an object hierarchy. So we're going to unpickle this. And if you go through the page here, it has a lot of data on how to pickle and unpickle. And essentially, we're going to rely on this documentation here to solve this challenge. Okay, so let's go back and unpickle this one. We're going to need to create a new Python code here. So let's say it's unpickle cookie. The first thing we want to do here, we want to import pickle. Okay, and then we will want to import base64. So essentially, we will take the base64 object here, the cookie, all right, and after decoding the cookie, we're going to unpickle it. So let's use from base64, or let's say import base64. We're going to import everything from base64. All right, and say here we say cookie equal, and we'll put in here the base64 form. All right, now the next step is to, so here you have the base64 version of the cookie. If you want to get the pickled version of the cookie, we want to decode this with base64, but here we are actually unpickling, so we will need first the pickled form. Okay, so the pickled form, we can extract the pickled form by decoding this into base64. So we will say here unpickled equal to pickle.loads. So essentially we're going to use pickle.loads to unpickle an object. Pickle.loads. As you can see here, we use this one to load and loads to actually unpickle the objects. Let's go back. Okay, so what we are unpickling here, the base60 or the decoded version of this base64 string. So p64 decode, wait, cookie, and then I'm going to say print unpickled. Let's execute this. Python 3 unpickled. b64 decode is not defined. Let's go back and say here from base64 import b64 decode. Cannot get attribute anti-pickle serum. Okay, I think we need to define a class for the anti-pickle serum, as it is mentioned here in the page. Look at this one, main.anti-pickle serum. So you have to define this as a class in the code. So basically the class, we're going to define this maybe after the imports. So class anti, oh, not here, sorry. Class anti-pickle serum object. It's going to be self initialize self, and we're not going to return anything here, just going to pass this. Okay, so we get this. So what's that? So basically this is the Python object hierarchy, or the original form, the unpickled form, serum, and the value is anti-pickle serum here, serum. So what are we going to do now? So having extracted the original Python object here from the cookie, so basically let's go back here. That's the cookie, right? the base64 version of the cookie. If you decode the cookie, you're going to get this. Now what's this? This is a pickled object. We want to unpickle this. We use the code here to unpickle this, and we got this. Now the next step is to exploit the pickle and make it execute code for us. So having extracted the original Python object, we can use it to our advantage now to execute system commands. And that's why here the statement above, or the warning, says the pickle module is not secure. Only unpickled data you trust. So why? It's possible to construct malicious pickle data. So having, as you can see here, having got a hold of the original pickle data, we can construct a malicious pickle and then unpickle it to execute system commands. So to do that, let me go over the code I created quickly. Rick. Okay, so again, from base64 we imported now encode. So why encode? The process is like this. We got a hold of the original pickled object. We want to unpickle this. We want first to execute system commands, create malicious pickle form, unpickle it, pickle it here. And after we pickle this, we want to convert this into base64 version. Why? Because we're going to actually inject the malicious pickle instead, or instead of the original cookie here. So we're going to create a malicious cookie that executes system commands. So right now we are going back to the original process. We are creating, actually, we have the original Python object. Okay, we want to pickle it or serialize it. After we do that, we're going to base64 to match, or to actually confirm to the original payload form. The payload form here is in base64, so that's why we'll have to use base64. Okay, let's go back here. So we imported base64 encode subprocess, because basically we want to execute the system command and see the output to the end user, and we have here the pickle and OS to execute the system command. Okay, so we defined the class anti-pickle serum, but this time it's not going to be initialized, it's going to be reduce. So reduce here is the way to execute, or to actually perform exploitation of the pickle. So pickler's object dispatch table is a registry of reduction functions of the kind which can be declared. And here, as you can see, a reduction function takes a single argument of the associated class and should conform to the same interface. Now basically reduce is the method used here to execute a pickle, the pickle library. So you can actually take a look at this blog, and in this blog the author used reduce. Where is that? Yeah, oops. As you can see, he created a class, and inside the class defined reduce, and then created the system commands. So if you go back and do the same here, what we're doing instead, we use the subprocess check output to take the command output, and as a trial we used ls. Alright, so here we have the pickled. Pickled will do what? It is the variable that holds the pickled object. So basically we know that the pickled object is serum and anti-pickle serum. So basically here we use pickle.dumps to pickle this object into byte stream. And we use protocol 0 here. So basically the protocol 0 is the level. So it ranges from 0 to 5. So first we can try from 0, and if it doesn't work we can use 1, 2, 3 until we reach 5. Okay, and after we create the pickled form, we want to encode this into base64. So we use base64 encode on this variable, and then we print out the final value. This final value here should be the base64, okay, of the pickle that will execute the command ls. We will use that base64 pickled object or byte stream in the cookie here. So let's do that, and make sure to run this using Python 2. Okay, so what's that? This is the base64 of what? It's a base64 of a pickle, okay, that executes ls, a system command in general. So if we remove this one and paste this one, let's see what we get. And as you can see, we get a list of the files in the current working directory. Now all you have to do here is to modify the command in the original code. And instead of ls, we're going to say cat. And the file name is flag. Run. Okay, that's the new base64. And we got internal server error. Let's go back and see why. So essentially here cat flag. Alright, so we have to separate the command, to separate these with a comma actually. Here you have one comma. Yeah. So let's try now. And this is the flag. So there you go, guys. You learn now how to execute system commands or exploit the Python pickle, which is actually not secure. But anyway, if you just come across this, you will know how to exploit this or make some sort of proof of concept during your penetration testing. So that was it, guys. Okay, so let's take the flag. Okay, so let's stop this, refresh the page. So what else we got? Okay, so full stack conf and baby bone chewer are unbelievably easy challenges. Let me show you one. So if we spawn this machine, start instance, and copy that, we go to the browser, stop the perp. Alright, welcome to the bone chewer event registration. So if you read the blah 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 here, we have this input box, which is what matters. So if you try only just like to try to register with our name, right? So test, register, and we get, as you can see, debugging information. That's the problem here. The problem in this challenge, or the weakness that the author wants to illustrate or to show you guys, is that debugging information should not be displayed back to the end user. Because if we scroll down, scroll down, you will find the flag repeated in more than one position in the API key here, and one more time under the environment variables. So it's very easy challenge, but the takeaway here is that not to display debugging information back to the end user. Alright, the other one. So let's stop this one, go back, and spawn full stack conf. So full stack conf is about cross-site scripting, and that is very obvious judging by the title. If we scroll down here, we have an input box, An input box normally is the place where you could play with cross-site scripting. So a simple cross-site scripting payload could be what? Could be alert or script first. Alert, hi, script. Now what happens if the website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting? You will get a pop-up here. Pop-up saying hi, or whatever you type in the alert function. Sign up. Thank you for signing up. And after a while, you will see this is the flag. Extremely easy challenges just to get you started with the basics of every weakness or vulnerability or misconfiguration. Now the last challenge will be baby breaking graduate. I'm going to leave this to the next video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.